Hey everybody, and welcome to another RCT2 review. Today we're continuing our series going through the H2H 10 contest parks. This is round number 3, match number 1, and the second park in the set. This is Yucca Desert Park, built by Where's Waldo at 80% share, so pretty much a solo park. Dr. Dirt had 8%, Ethan had 8%, and Maverix had 4%. So this one's got some pretty interesting plugins as well, but it is set in the southwest of the US and is pretty interesting. So there's some text scrolling on the bottom that tells us about this being a safe haven for people who believe in UFOs, and there's some interesting stuff. Like you might have noticed there on the right hand side, the shack just caught fire, and the fire got worse. So pretty interesting to start out with, just to show that there can basically be some events that get triggered as things go along. So it's pretty interesting. So we have this guy saying, "Aliens built the pyramids, man." And more scrolling text at the bottom is basically telling us about some of the UFO conspiracy theories. And here's our first visitor that comes on down. So pretty interesting, and a little bit of a show of what is more to come. We haven't even gotten into the park yet. So there's a lot of really cool just architecture and placemaking in here. This is very much like a kind of Western home-built little park, which is kind of fun, with some of the old, like, you know, Western town architecture, the saloons and that kind of thing. So we've got this this pretty cool saloon building here, and before we even get in, we've got these cool rocks that are stacked up that you'll see a little bit more of later. I love this train car. We're gonna see some more train cars as we go along. We got a food truck over on this side, at least I assume it's a food truck, and our train station right here with the Marlboro sign. But we get into the park a little bit more, and we get into this sort of almost like a revitalized ghost town or something like that. So we've got the tractor pool going on here, coming around the trees and everything. We've got our custom Ferris wheel here. I love this circus type building here called Atomic. Actually, it was based off of a pretty interesting conceptual picture, and I love the smoke plume here, or the mushroom cloud, I guess, of the atomic bomb blast. Love the little flags here showing off everything, and this is fun. Our little alien shoot 'em up ride, or not ride, but shooting gallery here, which is pretty fun. Just the little dancing back and forth aliens definitely has that feel to it. But here have our rocks suddenly coming up out of the ground as the UFOs come to land. And here's where the plugin gets really interesting. So check this out. These UFOs not only are appearing and floating and doing all of that kind of thing, but they're also causing stuff to happen. Like this one's causing this really interesting rock tower to come pulling up. This one's pulling up the top of the station here for the roller coaster. And just some really interesting, fun little details with all of these. So there's a number of the spaceships here as we move along. There's 5, 6 different UFOs here bouncing around. We see the ones here that raised this rock tower. This one also raised a rock tower over here. And then, of course, we have our coaster station here, which I think is kind of fun to raise this up and then drop it down again. We didn't catch it in this one too, but there's also a cow that gets over here that gets lifted up early on in one of them, which is kind of fun. So it's a little hard to tell where to look, I think, in some cases, but it's a pretty fun detail for sure. Some more train cars here. Tank car on the side that looks pretty neat, very nicely detailed. I love this little miniature UFO on top of the water tower, a little homage to the great beyond that I guess the park owners all know about, and I guess all the visitors too, based on the comments. So here's a little bungee ride, which is pretty cool. And then this is probably one of my favorite things. We looked at this earlier, but we've got the globe of death here, which is definitely a real circus thing, and I love it just because it's really neat to see these motorcycles all go around through the different elements and do it really smoothly and very cleanly. We've also got a little go-kart track around here as well, which is kind of fun with the UFO carts. Great little viewing area here as well. Of course, the coaster. We've been looking at everything else but the coaster so far. So this one is a pretty good layout. It's actually definitely based off of Dragon Mountain at Marineland, which I'm a big fan of. So You know, I like my obscure coasters, so this one checks the boxes. Checks the boxes for that, for sure. A nice long diagonal lift hill, 2 loops, mid-course brake run here, helix into a really long underground tunnel, which I normally frown upon, but certainly the Marineland influence is making that a little more acceptable. Into this bow tie element, and then up and into the brakes up here. A little bit of a short brake run, perhaps, but definitely some pace constraints going on there, I would say. But really nice landscaping for sure. I love these really desert landscaping here. Just really captures the Southwest pretty well, I feel like. As we go towards the back of the park, we get to more of this kind of rundown ghost town almost. We've got this little ride-on UFO here. Is the Jazzcat 1 Junior, if you remember from the last one of the Soda Jerks parks. We've got the tumbleweed coming through here, which is kind of fun. Lots of just little kind of junky architecture through here. We've got the meat shed, which sounds maybe a little concerning. The seed and feed here, Sneed seed and feed, it's kind of fun. I love the smoker here. That's a pretty cool detail with the half diagonal piece. Using these this Beach Pneumatic Transit CTR, which is a funny one because I feel like I've seen this used for so many other purposes except for kind of what it was originally designed for, which is a super specific niche thing. So it's just kind of funny to see how all that has led to a lot of really interesting different use stuff. There's a nice little walking trail up here, so we've got the Calico Overlook Trail, using it as a miniature golf course, so it's really has the guests walking all around up here, which is kind of neat. Actually, sort of hard to spot initially. I didn't see it in the first viewing until I spotted the peeps walking around, but you get these really cool little overgrown stairs, different small signage here, and some other little details like that, which I appreciate. Pretty long queues for it as well, though, so the miniature golf setup is maybe not the best one for that one, just because the guests are stacked way up for it. But lots of little details here. We've got the a lot of clickable stuff, which again, as I've said in some of the other reviews, you would expect that from the Soda Jerks Park. It's just kind of what you see a lot of. So we've got the you got the other players and calling out all that kind of stuff. So you've got just random comments like this guy saying, "I love the Wiggles." Remember from Hell, they had the Wiggles music playing there as well. We've got the maintenance guy here saying "lift with the back," and this guy saying "time to retire this." Trucks sign. But really nice architecture too, for kind of the limited and simplistic architecture that you usually have with this like kind of Southwest Western architecture. Actually really nicely detailed too. I love the different kind of levels of what we call crunch with some of these really kind of minuscule details, couple of different types of roof pieces with some of these kind of aged elements to really get some cool stuff going with that. One nice little graveyard here. Also under the stands here, smoking, of course, as you would expect. Coming back towards the front here, if we skipped a little bit of this initially, we've got this garden walk here. So this is the Botanical Cactus Garden, which is kind of fun. Also the Clown Hammer game. We've got the another one of the train cars here with the little UFO model as well. And then gold panning, which I think is a fun little detail here too. Also the train as we go by, this is the Burro and Goldwater Railroad coming and going through the whole thing. But this is a pretty cool little detail here with the gold panning. The green water seems maybe a little bit concerning, but it seems like it's popular. There's a big line. Lots of cool little bits and pieces of detail. Again, I was saying earlier with some of the detailing on the facades, like this is very cool with all these just little parts and pieces throughout here. And even on these ticket booths, you get these little arch elements here. Just very detailed on buildings that aren't inherently detailed themselves. So there was a good effort to kind of add on some just interesting bits and pieces. And two, you know, these plugins are just fun. You know, you gotta ask yourself, is the plugin the thing that's selling this park as a whole? In general, I don't think so. You know, it certainly adds to it, but I think the park can kind of stand on its own. But it does really sell this whole, hey, we're here to celebrate UFOs, and hey, there's actually UFOs that are coming and visiting. That's pretty neat. Another one of the railroad cars here that we didn't call out earlier. I love all the little back of house details, just all the people that are standing around here and waiting. Here's this guy saying, as you can see, we were in the red, and you can see the sign here that's showing that their finances aren't necessarily in order. Old tractor, our graffiti that you usually have. Here's like a little swimming hole in the back with canoes and everything down here underneath the coaster. So lots of just little things to explore as well. And also this little bull riding ride, which is one of those that I feel like just a standard custom ride somebody made at some point that you just really don't see being used in any good looking way, and I think they've done pretty well to make that happen. Love these little booths as well with the little canvas multicolored canopy here. I think that's pretty nice. But yeah, on the whole, this is a really cool park. There's a lot of fun details in here, and the plugin is very neat. So when you download this, and I know I haven't necessarily said this for some of the other parks that have had plugins, but when you download this park, which I'll have a link in the description below, you will get a file for a plugin. This goes in the Open RCT2 folder, in the plugins folder there, and you need to open the game after you drop it there. So that goes for all plugins when you get them. So just for awareness to make sure that everything works here, like I said, you do need Open RCT to view this thing, but it's definitely worth doing because you can check out a lot of the cool details that I didn't necessarily go into, and just enjoy this kind of fun, just interesting use of the plugin feature. So very cool, and this was the winner in this match. By a pretty good margin, which honestly I think is kind of belies the quality and the interesting nature of how the Sailor was. So both parks were really quite nice, and I think they both did a very good job in accomplishing their individual kind of aesthetic and park building goals, I would say at least. But that's it for round 3 and match number 1. We'll be back with match number 2 coming up next. So until next time, thank you all very much for watching, and have a great day. Bye now.